Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Devotions. Pastor Steve here walking with you in God's Word, and we are in Exodus chapter 34 on Thursday of National Lutheran Schools Week. It's called Throwback Thursday, so we're throwing back all the way to Exodus 34 about God giving new tablets because the tablets are at the bottom of the mountain in rubble because Moses got so angry at what he saw that he threw those down, shattered them everywhere. No, it's Throwback Thursday of National Lutheran Schools Week. I'm not going too far back to the 2021 state champs. If you're watching this, way to go, guys. Just giving you maybe a little bit of push for this year's team to be able to step into those places as well. But go Falcons. Anyways, Exodus chapter 34. Here we are, as I said before, Moses coming down the mountain, Moses being able to be upset, the people being confronted with their idolatry, and then the newness, the God relenting in his anger, God relenting in his path forward because of the faithful request of Moses. But as he goes forth, he just continues to build his community, continues to come back to who his people are and what he has in front of them. You'll see the shift here at the end of Exodus, and it's a great shift of God saying, these are your people, Moses, to once again being my people, the people that I've rescued, the people that I've brought up out of Egypt with my hand. And so we get to see that him being with them, him being his people, it's going to just continue to help them go forth as his community. Exodus chapter 34. The Lord said to Moses, chisel out two stone tablets like the first ones, and I will write on them the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke. Be ready in the morning, and then come up to Mount Sinai. Present yourself to me there on the top of the mountain. No one is to come with you or be seen anywhere on the mountain. Not even the flocks and herds may graze on the front of the mountain. So Moses chiseled out two stone tablets like the first ones and went up Mount Sinai early in the morning as the Lord had commanded him. And he carried the two stone tablets in his hands. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and stood there with him and proclaimed his name, the Lord. And he passed in front of Moses proclaiming, the Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands, and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sin of the fathers to the third and fourth generation. Moses bowed to the ground at once and worshipped. O Lord, if I have found favor in your eyes, he said, then let the Lord go with us. Although this is a stiff-necked people, forgive our wickedness and our sin, and take us as your inheritance. Then the Lord said, I am making a covenant with you. Before all your people, I will do wonders never before done in any nation in all the world. The people you live among will see how awesome is the work that I, the Lord, will do for you. Obey what I command you today. I will drive out before you the Amorites, Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land where you are going, or they will be a snare among you. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, and cut down their Asherah poles. Do not worship any other god, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land, for when they prostitute themselves to their gods and sacrifice to them, they will invite you and you will eat their sacrifices. And when you choose some of their daughters as wives for your sons and those daughters prostitute themselves to their gods, they will lead your sons to do the same. Do not make cast idols. Celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread. For 7 days eat bread made without yeast, as I commanded you. Do this as the appointed time in the month of Abib, for in that month you came out of Egypt. The first offspring of every womb belongs to me, including all the firstborn males of your livestock, whether from herd or flock. Redeem the firstborn donkey with a lamb, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem all your firstborn sons. No one is to appear before me empty-handed. 6 days you shall labor, but on the seventh day you shall rest. Even during the plowing season and harvest, you must rest. Celebrate the Feast of Weeks with the first fruits of the wheat harvest and the Feast of Ingathering at the turn of the year. 3 times a year, all your men are to appear before the sovereign Lord, the God of Israel. I'll drive out nations before you, enlarge your territory, and no one will covet your land when you go up 3 times each year to appear before the Lord, your God. Do not offer the blood of a sacrifice to me, along with anything containing yeast, and do not let any of the sacrifice from the Passover feast remain until morning. Bring the best of the first fruits of your soil to the house of the Lord your God. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. Then the Lord said to Moses, write down these words, for in accordance with these words I have made a covenant with you and with Israel. Moses was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights without eating bread or drinking water. And he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. Giving again his word to his people, being able to steer it, maybe being able to have some simplification of here's the feasts, celebrate these 3 feasts, right? Don't cook a goat in its mother's milk. That's really important. Well, it is important because that was kind of a pagan ritual, right? Don't give yourselves over to other gods. They will do nothing for you. I can do all things for you and with you. So this was this reclaiming, right? I have a covenant with you. I'm going to write on these tablets once again. I'm going to blot out what took place in amongst that community. I'm going to forgive their wickedness. But here we go. Let's start this walk. How beautiful that is, not just to read in a narrative of Moses and being up on that mountain coming back down to the Israelites, but knowing who our God is. He blots out our transgressions. But as it says further into the scriptures, each new day is full of his grace and his mercy. Relenting from that punishment because it was upon Jesus. But for you and me to be able to wake up every single day knowing that it's a new opportunity, that we can go forth with the Lord, that he has blotted out our transgressions, we can forgive others, and we can walk in righteousness with him this day, a new day that he's made. Let us rejoice that it's a new opportunity to not just see what's taken place in the past and let that be the weight of our present, but rather know who our God is. Know who our God is. I'm going to read it again. He is compassionate and a gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. Yet, we have to be real with it as well. Sin brings about consequences. It brings about punishment, as we get to see within what God is putting forth. It comes within consequences. So maybe this day, Lord, help us. Help us to be strong against temptation. Help us to be strong against the nature of our sin. So we don't walk that path, but we walk your path along with you. You leading us in the way that we should go. As we do dial back into that narrative, all of a sudden we get to see God's presence brings about radiance. Verse 29, it says, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hands, he was not aware that his face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord. When Aaron and all the Israelites saw Moses, his face was radiant, and they were afraid to come near him. But Moses called to them. So Aaron and all the leaders of the community came back to him, and he spoke to them. Afterward, all the Israelites came near him, and he gave them all the commands the Lord had given him on Mount Sinai. When Moses finished speaking to them, he put a veil over his face. But whenever he entered the Lord's presence to speak with him, he removed the veil until he came out. When he came out and told the Israelites what he had been commanded, they saw that his face was radiant. Then Moses would put the veil back over his face until he went in to speak with the Lord. The reverence, the radiance of God to his people now being seen in Moses. Let us follow the ways of the Lord. Let us follow the commands that he has before us. They're good and a blessing for us. Let's follow the will of God, that he wants all to come to the knowledge and truth that Jesus Christ is Lord. It's a new day. It's a great opportunity to not hold on to our past, but to be able to live today in the forgiveness and the compassion and walking with God this day. It's a blessed day because the Lord is with us. It's a blessed day because he has given us faith. It's a blessed day that we can walk in that faith. Have a blessed day, giving thanks to God for all things because we are blessed. Thanks be to God.